Madame Bfrida Basok.
Good morning.
Je représente ici le groupement interprofessionnel des entrepreneurs du Cameroun, en abrégé JPEC, va nous entretenir sur les perspectives de diversification des PME pour une meilleure compétitivité à l'ère de la ZLECAF. Madame Bfrida Basok va axer son propos sur la présentation des stratégies mises en œuvre par les PME, les MPME et les TPE pour non seulement s'adapter au caractère saisonnier de certains produits, mais également booster la croissance du secteur. Elle nous présentera les possibilités entrevues par les PME de démarrer de nouvelles filières en vue de la conquête du marché intra-africain de la ZLECAF. Et enfin, elle nous présentera les principaux marchés déjà couverts et les difficultés rencontrées par les PME de son réseau notamment, et en particulier les PME créées et dirigées par les femmes. Si Madame Bfrida Basok est prête, elle prendra la parole. Je tiens à vous préciser que l'interprétation est disponible toujours sur le bas de votre panneau de configuration en français et en anglais. Donc, je vous invite fortement à basculer dans l'une ou l'autre langue pour pouvoir mieux suivre les présentations délivrées par nos experts. Madame Bfrida, si vous êtes prête, vous avez la parole.
Okay, thank you very much, Madam. I'll be looking at the prospect for diversification of SMEs for better competitiveness in the EFCFTA. So for the SMEs, we'll look at the activities of JPEG, what JPEG has covered so far. So in brief, I'll talk about the EFCFTA, the flagship project of the African Union that was created. It was created in 2018 and started and went operational in January 2021 to create a single market for goods, services, and facilitate movement of persons, movement of business persons. It's also to promote industrial development, sustainability, and inclusive socioeconomic growth to widen economic integration across the continent. And we can also see that over time, the EFCFTA is out to eliminate tariff at up to 97%. As at now, 37 countries of African Union, 37 AU member states have ratified the EFCFTA agreement. And we had the latest update on the 23rd of June, where which the last country ratified the agreement. The market brings together 1.3 billion people across the continent with a GDP of about $3.4 trillion. So the objectives of the EFCFTA as well is to create a single market for goods and services, as I earlier mentioned, expand intra-African trade across the RECs and continent in general, enhance competitiveness, and support economic transformation. Now, looking at the role of JPEG in the EFCFTA, I would like to draw your attention, ladies and gentlemen, that JPEG originated from ZLECAF, which had as objective to bring together businesses, micro, small, and medium enterprises from the informal sector to the formal sector. So JPEG accompanies these enterprises to the legalization process. Amongst others, JPEG works towards development and sustainability of these micro, small, and medium enterprises and craft businesses in Cameroon through implementation of operational and personalized support systems. JPEG as well advocates with national institutions like the Small and Medium-Sized Enterprise Promotion Agency to solve financial and technical challenges encountered by these micro, small, and medium enterprises, startups, handicrafts, and social economy businesses. So we look at the priority trade sectors that is being covered by JPEG members. Here we see that 15% of JPEG members operate in the agricultural sector, 26% operate in the industry sector, and 52% are more in the services sector. So this is we see that, okay, an analysis of GPEC in relation to the World Bank data shows that the agricultural sector contributes 14.5% of Cameroon's GDP and employs almost 43% of the active population. And the most traded products here, we look at cocoa, coffee, which is concentrated in the English-speaking regions and presently suffers from the economic, from the socio-political instability. We also see that fishing and forestry are two of the country's additional significant activities. The industrial sector as well, which is also so much exploited by GPEC's members, accounts for 26% of GDP and employs 14% of the workforce. The country's main industries are food processing, soya mills, and manufacturing, light consumer goods and textile, amongst others. So here we look at the most occupied sector of GPEC's members operates in the services industry, which employs 51.5% of GPEC and employs 42% of the active population. It benefits the economic activities created around large-scale energy projects. So we look at the potential trade sectors that are beneficial under the AFCFTA and which are already exploited by the GPEC members. So we look at the agro-food production industry. Most of GPEC's members are so much into the extraction of agricultural products, the food, and processing it into semi-final products. Most of GPEC's members, especially women and youth, are so into the handicrafts industry. The GPEC's members also are also in the manufacturing industry, as we have, we have some enterprises that operate in the suburbs. They have farms for the production of fruit, and we see that these enterprises already have industries with locally with manufacturing tools where they process these goods. For example, we have the production of pineapple from our members. We have the pineapple juice. We have herbal teas that are being made and manufactured by GPEC members. The GPEC members are also into the supply and distribution of these products that they produce. GPEC's, the members as well are involved in the electronic commerce activities. They trade online. They try to sell across the country and across the continent. So for the past 2 years, GPEC has registered a good number of successes. Due to the COVID-19 and the barrier measures taken by the government to address the issue of the pandemic, we see that GPEC's members were mostly affected. From here, we can see there is 47% of these micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises of GPEC's members experienced a decline in their production as a result of the pandemic. 91% of them had a drop in their turnover. 47% in customers of the 47% of them experienced a decline in customer orders, which made sales, which as well goes back to turnover. Turnover was slow. There was a fall in human resources as most of them lost their jobs. So 73% of the micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises suffered from that. And we also look at unemployment as it is. 49% of these enterprises, most of these enterprises lost staff, and we also had those businesses that could not sustain for more than 3 months, sorry, which experienced a decline. That collapsed as a result of the pandemic, and they are 12.52% of them. Now, GPEC on its own is diversified in the sense that it brings together a good number, it brings together a variety of industries in the small and medium-sized enterprise and of different sectors across the country. As part of the support measures taken by the head of states to fight the COVID-19 through the Ministry of Territorial Administration, GPEC, through its network of handicraft in Douala and Yaoundé, signed an agreement with the ministry to produce face masks. Also, GPEC mobilized 300 artists, including 100 in Yaoundé and 200 in Douala, to produce face masks within a very short period of time. And these face masks were efficiently produced and delivered. We can see that the quantity was 96,600 of them. Also, GPEC's members have the ability to widen to produce more to produce more and create more, innovate and invest. If they are provided with the adequate equipment that are necessary and the business environment as well is conducive for trade and exchange. GPEC has severally called on state institutions like the SME, like on state institutions and international organizations on the issue of financing to finance small and medium-sized enterprises, which is a major concern for these SMEs because there is because of the complexities to acquire loans from financial institutions. These SMEs face a lot and it affects their productivity. So currently, GPEC is carrying out sensitization campaigns to train and to impact these SMEs and teach them, to orientate them on the benefits of trade under the AFCFTA and the opportunities that the market has come to provide. So amongst many other challenges that GPEC has faced over the years, we see that the major challenge is the access to finance. So the financing skill is low due to the risk of non-payments generally considered high by banks and structural limits of large fringe of SMEs. So we look here that the inability as well to acquire necessary equipment and machineries for production of the product and transformation to the secondary state is also a challenge. Another challenge encountered mostly by these SMEs who are members of the GPEC is that they experience a very low and inadequate access to new technology. So most of them do not know how and where to get the new technologies to implement into their business strategies so that they can innovate and expand productivity. We also see that mobilization of domestic resources is poor as a result of the poor transport infrastructural network, which is also a challenge, and then there is another, and the weak public-private partnerships. So as a result of these challenges, GPEC proposes several options amongst others, which could facilitate the functioning of this sustainability and development of these micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises. GPEC proposes that rationalization and regrouping of guarantee funds for granting of loans should be taken into consideration to facilitate, in order to solve the problem of financing, which is major that these SMEs are currently facing. GPEC as well proposes that there should be an improvement of quality of credit information by financial institutions for better risk profiling of these micro, small, and medium enterprises. Encourage the creation and development of specialized companies. GPEC as well revitalizes and approves management centers in order to allow the modernization and information of the SMEs. To conclude, in all, the business environment in Cameroon for micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises is not conducive and it remains unattractive. And as a result, Cameroon continues to be at the bottom of the World Bank's Doing Business ranking. And regarding financial institutions, for their often criticized reluctance with regards to SME risk it's generally seen that the relationship between the banks and these micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises is being threatened. Why? Because of the poor quality of accounting information provided by the SMEs. And finally, these micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises have a great potential to diversify, create jobs and economic opportunities, especially for young people and women in the markets of the EFCFTA. So thank you very much, and I look forward to questions.
Je souhaiterais partager avec vous une contribution d'une participante, Madame Félicité Yinda Koyok. Pour elle, elle nous fait savoir que la mise en place du marché commun européen a donné lieu à une grande réflexion des acteurs aux fins d'élimination des différents obstacles pour la mise en place de ce grand ensemble que nous connaissons aujourd'hui. Les acteurs de la ZLECAF trouveront certainement eux aussi les voies et moyens pour lever les différents obstacles pour la mise en place de ce grand marché qui permettra à l'Afrique de parler d'une seule voix au niveau du commerce mondial. Nous vous remercions, Madame Yinda, pour votre contribution. Nous avons une contribution de Madame Félicité Yinda qui, pour elle, je vous la lis, pour elle, la conclusion de Madame Bfrida Basok est très pertinente lorsqu'elle souligne que les PME et les PMI restent à la traîne dans le doing business mondial. En effet, il faut que ces structures soient accompagnées et le mot n'est pas assez fort pour renforcer leurs capacités en termes de maîtrise de l'outil informatique, du marketing commercial et de la notion de la qualité et de la norme. La compétitivité passe par là.